It's time to introduce you to the starting lineup for this tonight's running of the ReCar 150 presented by Wonder Auto and Tire. Starting shotgun on the grid, it's the Oyster Bed SO Reliable Motors Dodge. From Oyster Bed, Prince Edward Island, please welcome Kenny Snow. Another Kenny will start alongside him. It's the Acura Moncton Mac Tools, Mountain HVAC, and R. Stevens Mechanical Acura. Car number 85, Kenny McKenzie Jr. Fog City Auto Spa, KW Electric, and Big Bubbles Auto Wash. On car number 94 from the Port City of St. John, please welcome Ryan Rains. Livingston Steel on car number 22, his first time to the Gary Woods. Please welcome from West Cove Head, Prince Edward Island, Brody Lewis. CarQuest, Canadian Tire, Pubs Drive-Thru Model Exchange on the driver from Barnesville. Number 27 is Curtis Collins. Kerr Smart Energy, Platinum Touch Electric, the Lawn Doctor, 101 Electrical on car number 88 from Fredericton. It's Big Kevin Moore. A former competitor in Ontario with the Oscar Hot Rods and the Atlantic Modified Tour out east. Driving for Dwayne McKay here tonight, his debut. Please welcome Ed Bowlby. Burger King and Obelinas Auto Body on a three-time winner this season in the Gary Woods. From Boundary Creek, please welcome Dave Obelinas. Bayview Truck Shoreland Transport GD Fabrication on car number 43. He has had a hot run this season. From St. Martin's, please welcome Hudson Weston. Robert Curtis of Keller Williams, Mark Auto in Hope City on the big black Dodge. His father, a four-time champion right here in the Gary Woods. From New Denmark, please welcome Ian Rasmussen. 2 times a champion in the Gary Woods with the Easy Clean Pressure System Chevrolet. Coming to us from beautiful Hampton, please welcome Chris Duncan. Halpin Excavating, GD Fabrication, AJ Millett & Sons on the 03, high up in the points here tonight and looking for the win. Please welcome Steve Halpin. Your points leader drives for Clam Diggers Beach House, Powered Up Electrical and Cornwall Self-Storage on car number 16. From Cornwall, it's Dylan Gosby. The Power Store, the Snell Group, and Pubs Drive-Thru Model Exchange on car number 10. From Baxter's Corner, please welcome Devin Snell.
That's okay.
Shaw's Towing, Kears Ventilation, McKinnon Brothers Service Center on the car from Charlottetown. Please welcome car number 18, it's Darren McKinnon. JS Plumbing and Heating, King Competition, and Chris Fournier Remax on the Charlottetown driver. Please welcome the 01 of Troy Burke. All the way from Fort McMurray, Alberta, ladies and gentlemen. He drives for King Competition, Robbie's Towing, and Easy Term Auto. Car number 42 is Kyle Reed. AJ Mechanical, Kelson Industrial, and Pubs Drive-Thru Model Exchange on car number 54. 2 podium finishes this year. Could he win for the first time tonight? Please welcome Clark Moore. Your winner of the inaugural event, back on opening weekend, drives for Waterfront Pub and Eatery, McLaughlin's Overhead Doors, and Dana's Collision. From Harvey, it's Big Orange, Ryan Messer. Darcy Tucker Holdings Limited on the Chevrolet. He knows this track very, very well. Driver number 52 looks for a good run tonight. It's Dustin Tucker. Podium finish on opening weekend for the Doherty and Fullerton Maple Syrup Pubs Drive-Through Exchange. Lonnie Somerville Racing Toyota. Please welcome from Barnesville, Lonnie Somerville. White Lightning Auto Center and Empire Luxury Limousines on car number 2, a three-time 250 champion here in the Gary Woods. From Littleton, it's Ashton Tucker. Outside of row number 2, driving for Rice and Construction, Eaton Racing, Dan McGrath, an Action Car and Truck. The driver comes to us from Sherwood. It's Robbie McEwen. 7 times a track champion right here at Speedway 660. Driving for AE Horn & Sons Beaver Brokerage and Top Shelf Cabinetry. Please welcome from Charlotte County, St. Stephen, it's Greg Fay. A winner at Petty International Raceway. Driving for Robbie's Towing, King Competition, Plant Seafood. On car number 83 from Jolly Cure, it's Cory Hall. Number 15, Florence Engineering, MCW Maricore Tomac. Online leak repairs, number 14 from Moncton, Andrew Rogers. Andrew, we'll talk to you here for just a moment. Starting on the pole, 26 cars here tonight. How does this feel to be up here?
Big thanks to ReCar and Wonder Auto and Tire for putting this thing on. Can't thank Wayne and Brent enough for this series and all they've put into stock car racing around this area. It means a lot for us to be here, and it's just a great field to be a part of.
Are you ready to go win for the first time in the Super Late Model Series?
We're ready to go out here and hopefully keep all the vendors on it and see how we come home.
That's Andrew Rogers, driver number 14, into the race car. Alrighty, on the count of 3, 3, 2, 1. Driver, start your engine!
Well, race fans, 26 of the fastest late models in the province set to do battle here for 150 laps of the ReCar 150. 12, 15, 20, 26 cars, one of the largest starting fields this season. Race number 5 of the 6-race series is alive and well for the Super Late Model Series in its first season. How about the 42 car all the way from Sydney, Nova Scotia? Robbie's Towing on that car. These guys actually operate a towing business out west. They fly back and forth to get to drive the race cars. Had a chat with him today. Said if he was here getting ready for the 250 upcoming. Talked about how he liked the 6-race series, that maybe they could run it full time with their busy schedule that they have out west in the towing business. So cars from all over. It'll be an exciting race, so sit back, get ready. You won't want to miss any of this. 150 green flag laps. Cautions do not count. We've had green-white finishes in some places 3-4 times to decide the winner. You will be on the edge of your seat for this one.
Brad, 26 drivers, as you just mentioned. What a field we have here tonight. And this is just a 150-lap Super Late Model race, but this is a big deal. Imagine the tune-up that's happening here tonight, what we could have in a couple weeks' time.
Jesse, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't see 35 to 40 cars here in 2 weeks' time for the 250. You're right, there's some guys tuning up. But these are the regulars on the tour. What about the outsiders that come in for the big money?
Yeah, we got a lot of drivers here, a lot of outsider drivers, a lot of drivers making their first Super Late Model Series start. Some of them, their first starts here at Speedway 660. It's going to be exciting. 150 green flag laps on tap next.
You got Cory Hall up on the outside pole. He's been a big winner here. How about Ashton Tucker a couple rows back, been a big winner. The 23, Lonnie Somerville, has been a big winner. A whole bunch of 250 winners in this field.
Absolutely. Look at Dave Oblinas. He's won 3 times this season weekly, starting deep in this field, and we mean deep. Starting in the final 4 rows of this race, he's going to have a long way to go if he wants to add a Super Late Model Series win to his pedigree.
Oblinas, no stranger to this track. He'll weave his way through. Patience will be a virtue here in the early going. You cannot win this in the first half of the race. You got to be around and save your car for the last 10 laps and make that run to the finish.
Absolutely. You know, these laps are quick here, but as we've seen in years past, you really got to keep your equipment underneath of you and be in a good position.
You do, and the good luck god's got to be with you. You can have the fastest race car, but mechanical breakdowns. The 23, 2 motors this year on the series. Put them on the sideline.
This time by race fans out of turn number 4. We're going to wave these drivers off. This is your salute. Send off the cars and stars of the Super Late Model Series. This is round number 5, the ReCar 150, presented by Wonder Auto and Tire.
So the cars sweeping back and forth, warming up the tires, waving off to the fans. A nice crowd here tonight just for this big race also.
Yeah, and a lot of drivers. I know it's kind of chilly out there. A lot of people are braving the elements. They're getting bundled up. They're getting close and tied it up, and they're ready to go, just like our drivers.
They'll forget about the cold once these cars start rubbing and get go racing here. They'll be on the edge of their seat, and they'll warm up in a hurry.
1 to go signal given to the field. Andrew Rogers, his first time on the pole of the Super Late Model Series event. Cory Hall to his outside. Tom Gilmore in the Riverview Ford Lincoln Pace truck pulls in. 26 of Canada's best Super Late Model drivers through 3 and 4. The ReCar 150 is underway.
So they're off. So Cory Hall trying to get a big run on the backstretch. He can't. Rogers will go bumper to bumper with them as they go side by side. Rogers will lead lap 1 here of the ReCar 150.
Cory Hall looks to roll the outside on Andrew Rogers. The Plant Seafood, Robbie's Towing, Toyota wants to lead lap number 2, can't do it at the line.
So Rogers will lead lap number 2, but Hall is working hard up on the outside. Meanwhile, back in the field a little bit, the 20 of Fay is holding his own. Ashton Tucker looking for some place to go as they're double foul the top 10 cars. Cory Hall getting an advantage.
Robbie McEwen around the outside of Greg Fay, the Sherwood driver, beat and thrashed on that race car. Look out, Clark Moore off the pace. Car number 54 off to the pit area. Tough break for the St. John driver, his second year with this race car.
Still the battle up front. It's side by side. Cory Hall
Oh,
will edge
look
him.
out. We got trouble in turns 3 and 4. Ian Rasmussen goes around. Steve Halpin, Hudson Weston. Dave Oblina spins. The 97 of Chris Duncan able to keep going. Don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of damage. Kevin Moore involved as well. Car number 88. I think Halpin might have got on the binders just enough. And Rasmussen finds himself sideways 3 laps in to the ReCar 150 presented by Wonder Auto and Tire.
Everybody's moving, getting away from it. Doesn't look like any serious damage. The 48 Oblinas, a little scuff on the side. Nothing doing there to harm him. So a lucky break early in lap 3, a caution between turn 3 and 4. But it looks like everybody will recover from it. Somebody making a pit stop on that run here all the time, get set up for it. But we've seen the shoes come in from outside and never get a handle on it.
Absolutely. I mean, some of the best that have ever driven at this place. I think about, Sterling Marlin or Terry Lamonti that just weren't able to get the handle on this track. Johnny Benson was good a couple of times. Austin Terrio had a good finish here, but some of them just couldn't quite get the hang of it.
Sometimes we underestimate what we have here in our own backyard. We bring these shoes in from NASCAR. Very seldom do they win. Our locals get the job done.
Oh, yeah. And that really shows the pedigree of the drivers we've got here in Atlantic Canada, and especially all across Canada with some of the stars that we've got here tonight. So the drivers have chosen on the backstretch. There is a choose rule in play. So Andrew Rogers has gone to the inside. The 83 of Cory Hall back to the outside. Greg Fay is on the inside and behind them. Robbie McEwen in the 40. He's on the outside. Ashton Tucker and Lonnie Somerville make up row number 3.
And don't count out the one car. Big Orange knows his way around this racetrack.
Yeah, a winner 3 times this season between this series, the Tour, and a weekly show. He'll know how to get it done. We'll find out as they come to the restart box. Green flag back in the air.
Once again, Cory Hall gets a big jump on the restart, but Rogers fights back on the outside. Meanwhile, Robbie McEwen trying to follow in his shoes. Right up there looking to take that 3rd spot.
Side-by-side battle. Moncton versus Jollicure up front, and the Sherwood driver sits in 3rd at the moment. Here comes Lonnie Somerville in hot pursuit in the outside row. He'll bring Ryan Messer with him.
Meanwhile, Cory Hall fights back on the outside. It looks like he's going to get it done on the backstretch. McEwen wants to follow him through, can't get it. Rogers shuts the door and fights back on the bottom. Caution on the Speedway.
Darren McKinnon has gone around. Chris Duncan once again comes to a stop. Ed Bowlby went for a wild ride through the dirt. And everybody able to drive away from that one. We're seeing some trouble down.
Well, you're always guessing when you test in the afternoon. You try to be a little bit on the loose side, so when the cold weather comes in, it tightens the race car up. But it's a guess. How far do you go? And on a 150, if you went too far, you can pit early and maybe get it back. But you almost got to go with what you dealt. You don't want to give up track position with all these fast cars in the field. It's hard to get back up through.
So we're under caution for the second time. 4 laps in to the ReCar 150, presented by Wonder Auto and Tire. We'll be back with round number 6 on September 30th, I believe, at Petty International Raceway. That'll be our championship round on the High Banks Petty Raceway. We saw a pretty good show there last time out. Maybe it was a little bit rough. Maybe some guys took home some wrecked race cars, but look at the field we've got tonight. I know they're going to want to come back for one last crack at it.
Well, it's very impressive that 5 out of 6 races and you get this big car count. So that's a statement to the Tour that people are happy and they're enjoying the Tour. I mean, if you went into race 5 and you're out of contention for the points and stayed home, you'd be here with 15 cars. That's not the case here.
Off turn number 4 one more time. Green flag back in the air. Cory Hall's going to rocket down into turn 1 and off turn 2. Andrew Rogers will pull even with him in turn number 3. Sparks out from underneath the 14 car, but they will carry on out front. Cory Hall side by side. He'll lead lap number 5.
Andrew Rogers is not going to make it easy for Cory Hall as he fights back on the bottom. He's got a good hot rod under him. Cory Hall will lead that lap. Greg Fahey and McEwen are running side by side back in the 3rd position. Lonnie Somerville trying to decide inside, outside where he wants to go to get in the fast line. But the whole front of this field is bunched up pretty good.
Now these drivers, if they can get the positions they want, if they can get to the bottom or get to the top, they will have to exercise patience the best they can. Somerville now side by side with Greg Fay. The Doherty and Fullerton Maple Syrup number 23 with Preston Peltier on the crew this weekend is looking strong in that outside groove. He was 3rd on opening weekend.
Meanwhile, Lonnie Somerville puts it up on the outside looking to gain some positions. He's up to fourth on the back bumper, McEwen. But what is impressive up front is that Cory Hall cannot get away from Matt Rogers' car as he keeps fighting back on the bottom. Cory Hall side by side down the backstretch with Andrew Rogers. They'll dive into turn 3 and 4. Hall will lead this lap back. Rogers will settle into the second spot, but no, he fights back on the bottom. Cory Hall pulls him on the backstretch. Andrews will fight back. Now Cory Hall's going to shut the door on the bottom and take that lane away to lead that lap.
A little bit further back, Chris Duncan is on the move towards the front of the field. Involved in 2 cautions here tonight, but he is on the move, and he's bringing Dave Oblinus with him. How about our points leader, Dylan Gosby? Gosby is mired mid-pack, but he could be a contender once this thing is all over.
Meanwhile, on the bottom, it's Lonnie Somerville fighting under McEwen to take that third spot. He was outside, dipped down under, and McEwen slipped up the racetrack. He was Johnny on the spot to take that spot, but they're side by side, a good battle. Fahey will run in the 5th spot, but they're double foul back behind him as there's no place for Ashton Tucker. Big Orange running side by side. All double foul, 6 through 12.
Kyle Reed on the move in the outside. In the Robbie's towing, number 42. Works around Devin Snell. Those 2 drivers have been on the podium in the Pro Stock 250 before. Up front, Cory Hall trying to dispatch of Andrew Rogers. Lonnie Somerville up to 3rd. And Robbie McEwen hot on his trail in the 4th position.
So Cory Hall cannot shake Rogers. Andrew Rogers stays right with him. We thought maybe Cory Hall could drive away, but Rogers says no. He's hanging tight on the bottom. Somerville gets the 3rd spot. McEwen 4th. Fahey 5th. Back through the field. Now it's Kyle Reed trying to take that 6th spot to get out of that double foul battle. Around goes Snell, and the caution will fly.
Caution flag comes out. Devin Snell will slide to a stop just towards turn number 1. He'll grab a gear and keep going. Brad, I was checking time and scoring on that one. Not sure if there was any contact with the 10 car and another driver.
10 and the Reed were side by side, but it just looked like the 10 car it broke out from under him. It doesn't look like there was any contact. He was a little loose getting off, and Kyle Reed was up in the outside, but from up here it looked like the 10 car just got lost it on his own. But I'm sure they'll make the call from upstairs. They're up higher on the do that. That's what I saw. So kudos to him, to be honest, and not to say, hey, I lost this, he didn't help me. For so many years it was no fault racing, and 2 years went to the back. I lived it, and lots of times you had nothing to do with it, but you were the culprit and you went with the other guy.
Yeah, unfortunately you maybe drove a little bit ticked off at that point.
Well, I did, and I remember running a tour race here, and I got sent to the back. There was a spin up in turn 1 and 2, Rolly McDonald and another car, and I'm running back here in 6, and I get sent to the back, and I come up after the race control. I said, well, show me. And the guy looks at race control, well, it looked like your car. And I said, well, you can't make decisions like that, buddy. It looked like my car. I wasn't there.
You had pretty recognizable race cars, so not hard to tell.
So you're right, I was a little disturbed after.
A little peeved, yeah. All right, so drivers have doubled up once again. Cory Hall continues to take the outside with the restarts. Andrew Rogers on the inside. Robbie McEwen will line up 3rd. Lonnie Somerville 4th. Kyle Reed and Greg Fay in row at number 3. Ashton Tucker and Ryan Messer in row number 4. Dustin Tucker and Chris Duncan up into the top 10 now. He's been involved in a couple of incidents. Don't count out the Easy Clean Pressure System, summer 97, a 2-time track champion. Green flag back in the air.
So Cory Hall gets a big jump on the restart, but Rogers fights back. No wonder why Somerville took the outside. He figures that Cory Hall's going to go, and he wants to go with him. But Rogers is holding tough, and he will lead that lap back to the line.
Lonnie Somerville would love to return to victory lane, especially here in the Gary Woods, a place he knows oh so well. He's got 2 of the toughest in front of him. to try and contend with. But right now, he is content with what he's got. Cory Hall up front will roll the outside and retake position number 1.
Robbie McEwen sits in 4th. He's watching Somerville inside, outside. He wants to go. He's looking, trying some way to get around that 14 car. Rogers a little loose off of 2. Loses a little ground. A lot of sparks coming out of that 14 car. Got to wonder if the sway bar chain isn't down on the bottom of it. And that could be could cost them some handling here in the later going.
Greg Fay starting to go backwards a little bit in the A.E. Horn Chevrolet. Car number 20 will now have Chris Duncan to his outside. Falling deeper into the back of the top 10. And Greg Fay, maybe they've missed an adjustment on that race car, and he will be hoping and praying for a yellow.
Don't look now, but Ashton Tucker and the Big Orange are on the move. Ashton Tucker stucks it up on the outside of Kyle Reed. He wants to take that position away. Reed fights back hard on the bottom, doesn't want to give it up. Meanwhile, Big Orange is sitting there watching what happens so he can decide which way he wants to go, inside or outside. Looks like Ashton Tucker will make the pass on Kyle Reed.
Lonnie Somerville and Robbie McEwen. Fans of the Mike Stevens Memorial have seen these two drivers get together. No strangers to one another. Somerville leaves the inside open. Robbie McEwen to his inside. Cory Hall is checked out, and Andrew Rogers solidly in second. This is one of the battles on the racetrack.
Ashton Tucker sitting right behind McEwen and Somerville, wondering what's what, which way is he going to go. Somerville gets the edge on the backstretch. McEwen will settle in behind him. Ashton Tucker looking to go under Robbie McEwen. He gets the nose there, can't get it done this lap. McEwen shuts the door. Tucker fights back on the bottom. Reed sends behind him. Big Orange double foul in behind Tucker.
Hamke, Fury, and Clattenburg all in a blanket. Right now we got a Fury and a Clattenburg car in behind him, and then Chris Duncan in the 97 has settled into position with the 97 car. In behind him, Dave Oblinus is on the move. Oblinus started deep in this field, and he is now inside the top 10 in car number 48.
Ashton Tucker gets underneath Somerville. He is on the prowl. Ashton Tucker will settle into the 3rd place, and he sets sights on that Brad Siliker Motorsports. He wants to get up front and battle with Cory Hall, where that car comes out of the same shop that Cory Hall works in. Same chassis. They are not strangers to each other.
Brody Lewis in danger of going down a lap in the Livingston Steel number 22. Ryan Rains there as well. The Fox City Auto Spa Ford in danger of being lapped sooner rather than later.
Cory Hall will begin to lap some of the back markers. Rogers closes up. Tucker sits in 3rd. Lonnie Somerville 4th. Robbie McEwen 5th. They gathered up on the backstretch. There was almost a spin, but a nice save. As they get into lap traffic, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but Tucker has really closed the gap. He's within a car length of Rogers for that 2nd position.
Andrew Rogers will defend for all it's worth. The Moncton driver sitting 2nd at the moment, having a career run with the Super Late Model Series. He has got one of the best young prospects in Atlantic Canada in his rearview mirror. Ashton Tucker, a winner 4 times of a 250 in the Maritimes between Halifax and Fredericton.
Somerville, McEwen, Kyle Reed, Big Orange, single foul. Whoa, big crash! And the 97 is into the pit. And a flying crash off of the bank. Hopefully he's okay, but he went for a wild ride down the pit road.
Red flag comes out immediately. Chris Duncan has rolled in a spectacular crash off the backstretch. And safety crews will head there immediately to check on the 97 crew, but we will wait for word from the safety crews.
So don't know what happened just on the backstretch. So he's got to enjoy his run so far. So we're doubling up the cars here, and they'll zigzag and get back in order. But we'll be anxious to see. It seems like Rogers can fight back on the restart for about 5 or 6 laps. And what that tells me, Jesse, is that the chassis on the 83 car is set up really soft. When you got a soft setup, it takes longer to get heat in the tires. So that could be why it takes Cory Hall 5 or 6 laps to get around the 14 of the Rogers.
The 10 car of Devin Snell comes back out on track. He'll join his St. John counterparts at the rear of the field in the 03 and the 54 and the 94, respectively. Lights out on the Riverview Ford Pace truck. Andrew Rogers in the inside. Cory Hall on the outside. Side by side, ready to put the hammer down and bring this thing back to green. We'll see how this one shapes out. 113 laps to go.
So Cory Hall gets a jump on the restart, but Rogers will fight back on the bottom. Ashton Tucker is right there on the bumper of Cory Hall. He looks like he's chosen the outside, but Rogers will fight back, and Rogers will lead this lap. Cory Hall, meanwhile, still fights back on the outside. Rogers pulls him. Hall will get up equal door to door down the backstretch.
Cory Hall looks for that outside groove on the 14 car. Rogers will give him the room, but it's going to bring Ashton Tucker with him. The White Lightning Auto Center Chevrolet rolls along the outside of the 14 car and puts pressure to his passenger side.
So it's Ashton Tucker looking to follow through on the outside, but the Rogers car fights back on the bottom. You could put a blanket over the top 3 cars. Meanwhile, Robbie McCune is taking that 4th spot. Kyle Reed looking to take the 5th spot away from Lonnie Somerville. And it's Burger King and Big Orange sitting back watching where the hole is, where to go.
Kyle Reed and Lonnie Somerville putting up a good fight just ahead of Dave Oblinas. One of Reed's few runs in a super late model this year. He runs top 5 for the moment at Speedway 660. Dave Oblinas now underneath of Lonnie Somerville, and Oblinas will bring Justin Tucker with him on the bottom groove.
And it's Rogers fights back. He's still in that 2nd spot on the bottom. Now McCune is caught up to the back bumper, Ashton Tucker. So put a blanket over the top 4 as they try to decide who's going to get that 2nd spot. Now Ashton Tucker puts it up outside of the Rogers car. Cory Hall will lead that lap. Tucker, Rogers, side by side. McCune lurking, which way to go? They're all tangled up together, the front 4. Dave Oblinas has rolled into the 5th spot.
And for folks listening at home, believe me, this race is as close as it has been all race long. 47 laps complete this time, 103 to go.
Cory Hall continues to have trouble to get clear. Ashton Tucker would like him to get clear as he's got up in the outside. And it looks like Robbie McCune's outside, but Dave Oblinas has taken the bottom. So he'll take the 4th spot away that lap. Rogers fights back. So impressive that Cory Hall cannot get away from the 14. The Rogers as they continue to fight for that lead.
The spotters for any of those top 5 drivers are earning their pay tonight. Continuing to let them know, driver outside, driver inside, still there at the door, clear this time. You'll hear all kinds of radio chatter from those drivers.
Cory Hall finally gets free of the 14. Now Ashton Tucker sets his sight on trying to get clear to 14. Oblinas is on the back bumper, but it looks like the outside groove, and Ashton Tucker gets it done. He will slide into the 2nd position. McCune will try to follow on the backstretch. McCune door to door with the Rogers car, looking for the 3rd spot.
Your EIT Race Radio's pole sitter tonight is about to lose his podium spot Robbie McEwen working the outside, 40 versus 14. McEwen has a nose ahead of the 14 but cannot make the pass stick. Dave Oblinus is there.
Meanwhile, up front, Cory Hall is giving the bottom to Ashton Tucker. Just can't seem to get enough grip off the bottom. He's there at the back bumper. The two cars up front are bumper to bumper. Now Ashton Tucker looks to the bottom. Hall shuts the door on him, so you put it up outside. What a battle up front between Cory Hall and Ashton Tucker.
Hall and Tucker, we saw this 1 year ago at the 2022 Pro Stock 250. Tucker would get the advantage that night on Cory Hall. Hall would love to return the favor and take away the win from the Littleton driver.
Meanwhile, Oblinus has captured the third spot in the Burger King 48 car. He will work his way to compete with the front two. Rogers settled into fourth. McEwen fifth. Big Orange has moved up to sixth. Looking to move up a little farther. McEwen slides up the racetrack, but Big Orange can't get the grip he needs to get it done.
Lap traffic to contend with now. Ryan Rains in the 94 about to go down a lap. Brody Lewis has gone down a lap. Kenny McKenzie Jr. in the 85 about to go down a lap, and Ed Bowlby in the 19 car will be next on the docket.
So Hall and Tucker in lap traffic, but they take no time to get around the lap traffic, and they got a clear racetrack ahead of them to settle it again. Oblinus is going to come up through lap traffic. Rogers sits in fourth. McEwen falls back to fifth. Big Orange sits in sixth.
61 laps complete at the line. Ashton Tucker is hounding Cory Hall. Hall, nearly a winner at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway this year in Pro All-Star Series competition. Returned to victory lane at Petty International Raceway. Nearly drives Tucker out into the dirt. He is defending for everything he's got as we approach the halfway point in about 13 laps time.
Cory Hall throwing blocks inside, outside. It looks like the two car, Ashton Tucker, is the faster car, but he's got to get around them. Gets the bottom, can't get the grip. Hall fights back on the outside. These two are putting on a show for the fans here in the Gary Woods.
5 Pro Stock 250 wins between your top three here in the Gary Woods. Dave Oblinus has checked out from the rest of the field. He is third and not worried about what's happened behind him. What is happening behind him, though, is Andrew Rogers and Robbie McEwen, Ryan Messer, Dustin Tucker, the 23 of Lonnie Somerville and Hudson Weston, all in a train trying to get around lap traffic.
Both of these cars up front out of the same race shop, King Racing. You know they know what each other has. It's a driver's contest now, but it's a battle up front for sure. Inside, outside, looking to try to get it done. It looks like the two's going to ride for a little bit. Meanwhile, Dave Oblinus has taken over the third spot. He's got some distance back, but now Rogers has some company as McEwen is fighting on the outside. Robbie McEwen looking to take that fourth spot away.
Steve Halpin's on the move just outside of the top 10. Don't discredit the 03 car. He is working his way through lap traffic, through lead lap cars, and he wants to be back up towards the front before all is said and done.
So the leaders in heavy lap traffic as they start to lap the tail end of the field. Put a car length in between the two. That's all they got. Another 6 car lengths back to Oblinus. McEwen has now taken it away from Rogers, and Big Orange came along with him. So the one car, Big Orange, up to the 5th spot.
Lap traffic continues to play a factor. Troy Burke and Clark Moore have gone down a lap. Kenny Snow next on the list. Brody Lewis will be going down another lap here in a moment's notice. Snow has to save it with the 7 car. Good run for the Oysterbed Esso Dodge.
These cars are setting a torrid pace up front. They're about to lap some good cars. Darren McKinnon's got to get going. The leaders are coming, and they're coming in a hurry. Curtis is running along behind McKinnon. He'll be in danger of going a lap down. So the leader's setting a torrid pace here in the Gary Woods. Halfway, 75 laps in the books. Halfway done, another 75 to go to decide this ReCar 150.
Cory Hall has not had a moment to himself all race long to really dial in that car. How much more work does he need to do with that car? He is hooked up and hauling the mail, as Cyril Hall used to say. Curtis Collins now down a lap, but he slides up the racetrack. That opened the door momentarily for Ashton Tucker. Look out, Ian Rasmussen sideways. Oh, it shuts the door on Dylan Gosby. Rasmussen was having a good run, and Gosby maybe not having the run he would have liked to have had here tonight.
Cory Hall goes around the outside of the 18 of Darren McKinnon to put him a lap down. Along comes Ashton Tucker with him. McKinnon, a top runner, but these two up front are setting a torrid pace here as they continue to work their way through the field and put several cars lap down. Oblinas is following them through back about half a track. But Big Orange is on the back bumper now with a 40 car. McEwen looking to take that. So Big Orange rolls into the 5th position, and there's a spinner on the backstretch as a caution flies.
Dylan Gosby, your Super Late Model Series points leader, finds himself stopped in turn number 2. Caution flag comes out. And Brad, this kind of proves a theory I've had all season long. Drivers can't seem to back up winning the race before. You look at Ryan Messer, went to Oysterbed, didn't really have the greatest run. Greg Proud went to Petty, got tore up. Cory Hall went back to Oysterbed, didn't have a great run. A couple of times you've run it quite a bit. I guess I've never asked you this. What's your history with the 250?
I wasn't great in the 250s. I think the first one we had, I finished 3rd. If I just seemed like if I was going to have any bad luck, I always broke in the 250. So the 250 wasn't something I look forward to because it was usually a bad luck day, but it is a crown jewel. It is the biggest payday you're going to have. These guys that win a 250, well, you have that win for life. Everybody talks about championship. Well, that's good too. But the 250 is better because the paycheck was better.
I'm going to poke the bear a little bit, if I can. 1 year in a heat race, you and John Fleming got together. And John was looking strong that day. You were looking strong as well. You guys got together. John didn't end up making the show through the heat or a Consi or the last chance race. Who ended up with a provisional at the end of it to make the show? You did.
Well, I did, but because that was my past championships got me in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, I used that more than once.
Yeah.
The 250 wasn't something we spent a lot of time at. No. If you were points racing, you were always saving your best for the points race to get the championship. So
yeah, then you went to the Tour for a while, and I'm sure the 250 still not a huge priority at that point.
No, we went to the Tour in 05, and it was different seeing a different racetrack all the time, which some of these guys are going through also. So you had to get adapted to the other racetracks, but we were running 100 lappers all the time then. You know, in today's world, well, they weren't running 150 or 250. So we ran them, but we never put a lot of emphasis because a lot of times they weren't for points.
Lights out on the pace truck. Ashton Tucker on the inside, the 83 of Cory Hall on the outside. Curtis Collins finds himself a lap down. He's on the inside of row 2. Dave Oblinas is now on the outside. Kenny Snow, Robbie McEwen in row number 3. Snow is a lap down. McEwen is not. Green flag back in the air.
So it's Ashton Tucker on the bottom, Cory Hall on the outside. Tucker pulls side by side down the backstretch. Hall's going to drive it in deep. Tucker a fight back on the bottom. Little banging and rubbing on the backstretch. Cory Hall will lead that lap, but Tucker doesn't give it up. He fights back in the bottom. Oblina sets back 2 car lengths and watches what's going on in front.
Ashton Tucker looking to make the pass for the lead up front. Cory Hall defends through 1 and 2, gets the run off 2, and holds on to the top spot. Ian Rasmussen has broke. He has called it a night. The big black Dodge will load it up on the trailer.
So Oblinas rolls into the back bumper of Tucker now. Maybe he wants to play up on the outside as Tucker and Cory Hall a single foul, but Tucker keeps looking on the bottom, trying to get that edge, to get that spot away. Almost looks like Tucker could be a little bit faster, but can't get the pass.
Further back through the field, Kevin Moore is on the move. He started deep in this field. He works under Dustin Tucker now. Got some lap traffic to contend with, but don't count out the Fredericton driver. The Kerr Smart Energy number 88 is on his way forward.
Messer now is settled back in the 5th spot. He's behind about 2 car lengths behind Robbie McEwen. Rogers back sitting beside him in the 14 car. He'll take that spot, and now it's Dustin Tucker trying to get up. He's going to follow the 14 car back through some lap cars as they continue to roll through this field.
They'll get past Kenny Snow down the backstretch, and Andrew Rogers will lead a trail, and Lonnie Somerville's going to go around. Somerville contact with the 7 car, and 3 St. John drivers spin to avoid. Oh my goodness. What a turn of events we have seen here tonight, and Lonnie Somerville will not be thrilled about that one.
He had a good run going. I don't know whether he was lapping the 7 car or just, it's always tough when you're coming up on lap cars to know what they're going to do, so you never want to get taken out by a lap car, but...
A couple of friends tuning in, Charlie Sanborn and Lindsay Walker tuning in from the state of Maine, enjoying tonight's racing. They don't have a lot of experience with Speedway 660 events, but they're enjoying themselves. They got a newborn at home that's already been to the racetrack a handful of times, so
it's just cool. Themselves. It's cool, Jesse, with technology today that people can sit at home and tune into this, and it really piques their interest to come and see it live. Sitting at home and listening to you and I is one thing, but being here seeing it for real, it really makes them want to come to the racetrack.
Absolutely, and I've talked to him a handful of times. I'm trying to get him to come to the racetrack. I'm wearing him down a little bit. Maybe I have to work on Lindsay a little bit. Maybe I have to convince her to bring him along, bring the kid along, do all that. But, there's always next year. And you and I, with this, with people tuned in at home, you and I got to do a good job and paint the picture, as it were.
Well, we got to make it exciting and make sure we do a good job and keep people on the edge of their seat. It's pretty easy with this series. I've done some series where it was a boring race and you got to make it sound good, but this is good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's no shortage of action on track here tonight, especially with the Super Late Model Series. This is what you have come to see here at Speedway 660. Ashton Tucker on the inside, Cory Hall back on the outside. 86 laps complete, green flag back in the air.
So Ashton Tucker gets a good jump on it. It looks like he's going to edge Cory Hall down the backstretch. Can he keep it there? Cory Hall washes up the racetrack. Ashton Tucker will take the lead away from Cory Hall. The first time tonight that Cory Hall does not have the lead, and we got a spinner, and the caution will fly.
We'll see here. Yes, the caution will indeed fly. Brody Lewis goes around off the front bumper of the 7 of Kenny Snow. Those two might not have been happy with each other over in 3 and 4, and I think maybe Kenny Snow just kind of got tired of it. Is Dave O'Blinas going to end up in victory lane? Anybody come over from the island? Robbie McEwen maybe going to end up in victory lane. Got a couple of cheers there. Brad, she's a chilly night out there, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, the wind is... I was, while you were doing the other classes, I was sitting out there for about 5 minutes, and then I'd come in and get warm again. hats off to the fans that are sitting there. And the nice part of it, it's really a good show, Jesse. It's been exciting up front. Nobody's running away with nothing here. And I think we're going to see a real show to the end. But as I guessed, Ashton Tucker picks the outside and puts Cory Hall down on the bottom where he hasn't been comfortable.
This is interesting. We haven't seen this yet. What does, you think about this, Ashton Tucker is still in control of this race. So he's got to be the one to fire off first. Cory Hall can't jump him.
No, and we've seen some places where Cory Hall really gets a jump on it. But these two cars have the same transmission. And I notice now that the guys have caught on that Cory has a quick restart. Even Rogers has been equal with him tonight. So the guys have to be on the end of the game. But smart move by Ashton Tucker. Cory Hall hasn't been really great on the bottom. So he puts him down there to see what he got.
Still 25 cars left on the racetrack. Off turn number 4. Green flag back in the air.
And Cory Hall gets a big jump, and Ashton Tucker did not get a good jump. And the caution comes out as Cory Hall to jump the start, and we will line them back up again.
Got a little spooked there. I saw the ambulance lights come on and saw everybody whoa up, and I got looking around to see what happened.
Well, I think the ambulance lights are blue instead of orange or yellow instead of red. So I think they just put them on to make everybody slow down, because when you throw a quick caution on a restart, it's dangerous to rack up a bunch of cars.
Right, absolutely. So we're going to try this one more time. Get some green flag running in. We've got 63 laps left to go. And we assume at about 14 and a half seconds a lap. 4 laps a minute. Probably about, if green flag run, maybe 16, 17 more minutes of racing. Maybe.
Well, I think we're not done with cautions yet.
No, I would not say so. Off turn number 4 one more time. Green flag back in the air.
So once again, Cory Hall gets the jump on Ashton Tucker. Tucker will have to fight back on the outside and pin him, but he can't. Cory Hall goes down, shoves it down to the bottom to take that lane away. We'll see who's going to play nice now after jumping the restart. Tucker goes to the bottom of Hall on the backstretch. They go door handle to door handle. And Ashton Tucker gives Cory Hall a little butt.
Right up the racetrack goes the 83 car. Good save to be able to hold on to it. And good on Ashton Tucker to back out of it and let Cory Hall gather it up. Tucker back down to the inside. He'll bring Dave Oblinus with him. Side by side battle, a couple of Clattenburg cars. Messer up to 4th and Robbie McEwen on his outside.
Single file up front. Dave Oblinus is there. He's on the back bumper. He's looking under Ashton Tucker. He's going to get underneath Ashton Tucker on the backstretch. Tucker up on the outside. Oblinus on the bottom. Dave Oblinus trying to work his way up to take that second spot away from Ashton Tucker.
Devin Snell has been back on the move. The 10 car has worked his way up towards the top 10 after an incident earlier in the race with Kyle Reed, the driver in front of him.
So the big orange is up to the 4th spot. McEwen back to the 5th. Tucker gets in front of Oblinus now, and he shuts down the bottom lane. He sets his sight back on Cory Hall. Hall has the biggest lead he's had all night long. He's got about 5 car lengths on Ashton Tucker, and that's the biggest lead we saw the 83 have yet tonight.
95 laps complete and 55 left to go. The fastest lap on the racetrack belongs to the 83 car. That time by was a 14:194.
And we talked about Big Orange saving his car. While he is on the back bumper, Oblinus, he puts it up outside. Messer looking to go around the outside of the 48 car. He'll drive it deep into the 3rd turn. Coming off a 4, he's almost there. Continues to roll around the outside of Oblinus.
Look at a little contact way further back. Ed Bolby almost turned Greg Fay. They had to get out of it. Lonnie Somerville was there as well and almost collected. Everybody keeps on going, but they are mired deep in traffic and losing pace to the top drivers up front. Ryan Messer to the outside. He'll work around Dave Oblinas and up to third.
Ryan Messer takes the third spot away from Oblinas. He'll set a sight on Ashton Tucker. We talked about Messer saving something. It looks like that's what he's done. He certainly reeled in Oblinas in a hurry. Now he sets a sight on Ashton Tucker. McEwen sits fifth. Here comes Dustin Tucker in the sixth spot.
Dustin Tucker is knocking on the door of the top five. If he can reel in Robbie McEwen, he should be able to dispatch of him. 101 laps complete, 49 left to go, 48 to go as Cory Hall just crossed the strike. Brody Lewis down another lap in the 22. Clark Moore in the 54 about to go down a lap once again.
So the leaders will start to get into the lap cars. Cory Hall about a 5-car length over Ashton Tucker. Another 4-car lengths back to Messer. Oblinas sits in fourth. Here comes McEwen to the back bumper. Oblinas sitting in fifth. Dustin Tucker sixth. Weston sits back in seventh. A good run for him along with Rogers in the eighth spot. Into heavy lap traffic comes the leaders.
Pretty well single file all around Speedway 660. Troy Burke and the 20 of Greg Fay race side by side. Kenny McKenzie Jr. Blue Flame coming out of the side of that race car. He'll have to keep an eye on that. Curtis Collins on his outside. Leaders are coming. Ashton Tucker is closing back in on Cory Hall.
Tucker has got to the back bumper of Cory Hall. They will have to go through lap traffic here. There's about 10 cars in front of them running double file. So it could come down to who gets what lane to get by the lap cars. Cory Hall on the outside. Tucker will follow him back by the outside. But heavy lap traffic. Tucker goes to the bottom.
Ed Bowlby in the 19 car. He's not really making any friends out there. Trying to hold on to the spot that he's got. But Steve Halpin is to his inside. Halpin wants to make the pass. Ryan Rains, Troy Burke, Kenny McKenzie Jr. nearly 3 wide. Almost 3 wide for Cory Hall. Backs out of it. He's going to let the driver settle it out ahead of him.
Cory Hall's going to get pinched in behind the car. Snow. Tucker puts it up on the outside. He's going to pinch him down to the bottom and may take the lead from him here if the outside lane gets going. And that looks like what's going to happen. Curtis Collins ahead of Tucker. Cory Hall on the bottom, but he is caught behind the 7 car down on the bottom. Double foul as the lap cars are running double foul in front of the leaders.
Ashton Tucker in the 2 car trying to use the outside to get around Cory Hall. Hall thinking about 3 wide. Contact with Kenny Snow. Everybody's able to keep going, but that was real aggressive out of the 83 car. He's lucky he didn't climb a wheel and end up in the beach.
Cory Hall saw an opening. He made it happen 3 wide and got away with it. Tucker's following him through the lap traffic as he tries to get around the 27 of Collins. Tucker's right there on the back bumper as they got a few more lap cars to get around here, but what a move by the 83 of Cory Hall.
Dave Oblinas back up to the 3rd spot now. He's got around Ryan Messer. Messer had a mirrorful of Dustin Tucker. Tucker, who has got around Robbie McEwen, so McEwen has fallen back to 6th. Hudson Weston is on the move in the 43 car. Great run for the St. Martin's driver.
Meanwhile, Cory Hall is getting through the lap traffic. Ashton Tucker is following Oblinas also. Messer is caught up to them now as they start to clear a few more lap cars to get around, but the biggest pack of them are behind them now. Tucker gets around now. Fahey. They're going to lap another car. So Ashton Tucker on the back bumper, Cory Hall coming through the field.
They'll get around Ryan Rains in the 94. Now it's Troy Burke and Ed Bowlby duking it out for a position. Leaders are coming. Race control will be in their ear, letting them know that Cory Hall and Ashton Tucker are coming in a hurry.
Couple more lap cars in front of the leader. Somebody's off the pace on the backstretch. It's Lewis. He's going to try to nurse it to pit road. So that's both two cars nursing it to pit road, so there will be no caution. So they're clear of the field. Oblinus, Messer. Now Dustin Tucker got around McCune in lap traffic. So Dustin Tucker is up to fifth.
They've got around Ed Bowlby now. Troy Burke is next on the list in the 01 car. The JS Plumbing and Heating Chris Fournier Remax Toyota will go down a lap to Cory Hall and Ashton Tucker. Andrew Rogers off the pace momentarily. He'll lose a ton of ground of the 14 car. Had a great run going, and it has gone sour. Steve Halpin off to the pit area. The 03 car might be done.
Three cars pit late here. Up front now, it's a clear track for Cory Hall. Ashton Tucker. Oblinus sits in third. Messer is fourth. Dustin Tucker is fifth. Behind him in the sixth spot is McCune as he backed up a spot. But up front, they got a clear track. You're about a car length apart. Ashton Tucker did not get a good start on the last restart. He has something to prove here as he comes to the back bumper of the 83 of Cory Hall.
What kind of moves will Cory Hall make to defend the challenges of Ashton Tucker? These two have three 250s between them. Dave Oblinus and Ryan Messer, former 250 winners here in the Gary Woods. 23 laps left to go. 127 complete and 23 to go in the ReCar 150 presented by Wonder Auto and Tire.
So it's go time. Ashton Tucker puts it underneath Cory Hall, trying to get the job done. Door handle to door handle down the backstretch. Tucker drives it in deep on the bottom. Cory Hall fights back in the outside. Tucker will lead that lap as he continues to fight back on the inside. Edges Cory Hall down the backstretch. They'll go side by side down into three. Coming back off of four, Ashton Tucker has the lead here with about 21 laps to go in the 150. We'll see if the two car of Ashton Tucker can drive away from Cory Hall. Oblinus third. Messer's got company. Dustin Tucker is there.
19 laps remain. Ashton Tucker has pulled 2 car lengths now on the 83 of Cory Hall. Did Hall use up his stuff too early trying to defend, or is Ashton Tucker just that quick here tonight in the Gary Woods? We'll find out in just a few short laps. They close in on Ian Rasmussen, Darren McKinnon, Kenny Snow, and Lonnie Somerville.
So did Ashton Tucker save something, or did Cory Hall burn it up? Meanwhile, back in third is comfortably Oblinus is running. But in the fourth spot is where the battle is. Dustin Tucker and Messer are going at it. McCune sitting back watching for that fourth spot as you can put a blanket over them too.
Dustin Tucker looking to do Baby Bane proud here tonight. He wants to end up on the podium, but he's got a long way to get there and only 14 laps left to go.
So with 14 to go, it's been Ashton Tucker gets the lead up front. 5 car lengths back to Cory Hall. Another 5 back to Oblinus. The real battle is for fourth with Messer and Dustin Tucker. McCune sits there. As they got through the lap traffic, they got a pretty clear track, but the leaders are going to be in lap traffic here for the end of the race. Ashton Tucker is caught in the back of the field, and he'll have to work his way through this lap traffic.
Dylan Gosby has cracked the top 10 in the 16 car, looking to salvage a good points finish here tonight. Your points leader has not had the night he would like to have, but he is in salvage mode. 139 complete. This time by, it'll be 140, and we will see 10 laps to go in the ReCar 150 presented by Wonder Auto and Tire.
Ashton Tucker picking his way through lap traffic with 10 to go here in the ReCar 150. Can he get the job done? There's about 6-7 lap cars ahead of him, but he has been picking them through single file. Back in his Cory Hall's about 4 or 5 car lengths back, so he has some breathing room to get it done.
This looks like it might be too little too late for Cory Hall. Darren McKinnon and Kenny McKenzie Jr. have now gone down a lap with just 7 laps to go as they hit the stripe this time. Ashton Tucker is in cruise control up front. He is in command of this race.
Ashton Tucker around the lap car, snow on the backstretch. He gets the job done. He'll come up onto the 27 car Collins. That's the next car to be lapped. Oh, and we're going to have a late caution as the Kyle Reed spins and he brings it back on the racetrack.
Wow, save of the season. Kyle Reed, he made contact with somebody on the front stretch, dipped the wheels off, and sent her through the mud puddle here just past the start-finish line. And that thing should have been sent up into the fence. Oh, okay. He's not happy with Greg Fay.
That's the car.
Yeah.
That's who Kyle Reed come around to tell him he's not happy with him. But what a safety. It's true, and we can't skimp on safety. This is a fast sport, and it's got to be safe for everybody. So you got to have some communications there for sure.
So looking now, we're seeing.
Looks like we're going to double them up here, maybe. Yep.
20 cars left out on the racetrack. Of the original 27 that rolled through the gate today, of course, one driver not making the start of the event, John Rankin. John just had a tough day overall with that car. In the beach once, in the beach a second time. Unfortunately, he's on the crew side now.
Yeah, he is, and they bent some stuff the first time he was in, he told me, so God knows what they bent the second time, right? So they decided to park it, and Joe's laying on the back. Look at Ashton Tucker taking the bottom on this restart.
Yeah, making Cory Hall go to the outside. Tucker will be in command of this restart, and it's only 7 laps till we see the checkers on this one. So we are going to have a barn burner of a finish, as it were. Lights should be out on the pace truck this time. Nope, we're going to do another lap or so. Make sure everybody's tightened up. Everybody's good to go.
So, Jesse, we talked about the speedy dry. Is that why Ashton Tucker went to the bottom? I would have did that.
Yeah, you know what? That's a real smart move.
Yeah, that's heads up because there's some speedy dry right where the outside car is going to run here.
Yeah, you're not going to soak that all up and get rid of it.
No.
You're going to have to deal with it for these 7 laps.
No.
So
heads up by the 2 team to go down there.
1 lap to go given to the drivers. Lights out on the pace truck. ReCar 150 presented by Wonder Auto and Tire coming to a close. Who is going to park it in Riverview Ford Victory Lane? We are going to find out. It's Ashton Tucker on the inside, Cory Hall on the outside, Dave Oblinus and Ryan Messer in the row behind them. Green flag back in the air.
Ashton Tucker drives it deep down. Cory Hall drives it deep on the outside, side by side, down the backstretch. Give the edge to Tucker a little bit. He'll drive it in deep on the bottom.
Oh, Darren McKinnon's going to go around. Caution flag comes out. Sorry to cut you off, Brad. We saw 3 wide going into the corner, and Darren McKinnon found the worst of that and ends up over in the beach.
Well, 3 wide don't work very often here, Jesse. We saw Cory Hall get away with it in lap traffic.
Yeah,
that was impressive.
That was impressive.
Impressive, Jesse, when you can think that you go to 3 different racetracks and do that. That's fine to come and do it at 1 racetrack all the time, but this series has done it at 3 different racetracks.
Yeah, these drivers have been antsy to get back to Speedway 660. A lot of them, it's their home turf. It's the place that they're going to run the best. But for now, they've got to put it all on the table, put their chips on the table, show their hand as best they can, and try to come away with a victory.
So the restart will be so important up front with Ashton Tucker, Cory Hall, Ryan Messer sitting there, Dave Oblina sitting there, Dustin Tucker is up to 5th, McCune 6th. You can put a blanket over these guys, and with 7 laps to go, there's not going to be a lot of give. This may not be the last caution we've seen, Jesse.
Yeah, Devin Snell has moved his way back up into the top 10, so great run for him to rebound and come back through. Lonnie Somerville knocking on the door of a top 10 finish. I'm sure it's not quite what they would have hoped for, but they will do everything they can to bring this thing home in one piece. Up front, it's Ashton Tucker and Cory Hall on the hammer. Green flag in the air.
So they go side by side down into the corner. Cory Hall drives deep, so does Tucker. Side by side down the backstretch, but Cory Hall cannot get away. Ashton Tucker drives it really deep in. Ashton Tucker back. Cory Hall will lead that lap. Tucker will have to drive it deep into the corner again. He does, and they go side by side down the backstretch.
Devin Snell has broken, come to a stop in the infield. We continue on, but up front, Cory Hall back to the front of the field.
Did Cory Hall save something? Did Ashton Tucker use up the race car? But he's got to get there in a hurry. There's not a lot of laps left here to decide the winner. Meanwhile, it's going to be Messer running 3rd, Oblina's 4th. Cory Hall, 2 car lengths of Ben. He's down the backstretch.
We'll bring you to the finish of this one. It'll be 3 laps to go. This time, Cory Hall leaves the inside open. Ashton Tucker is there. They'll head down the backstretch. Tucker closes in, but Hall shuts the door on the inside. This time, popsicle sticks in the air. 2 to go for Cory Hall.
Ashton Tucker and Cory Hall get into each other on the backstretch. Backs out. Cory Hall's going to get the lead. Tucker fights back on the bottom. 1 to go this time by.
White flag in the air, 1 lap to go, side by side. Ashton Tucker looking for a last lap pass. They'll lean on each other. Cory Hall, Tucker down into the dirt. Cory Hall is going to win the ReCar 150. We'll head down trackside. What a finish for round number 5. Cory Hall, the first 2-time winner of the Super Late Model Series.
So the finish doesn't get much better than that, as Jesse will head down to trackside to do the interviews in Victory Lane. But what a run by Ashton Tucker. He had the lead, looked like he had the race won. A late caution comes out. He'll have to settle for 2nd. Cory Hall will take the win. I think there was some contact on the backstretch. And how about the run for Ryan Messer? Big Orange comes home in 3rd as he saved the car. And around goes Cory Hall spinning out with a victory spin out on the front lane. But what a finish here for the ReCar 150. Cory Hall, the second only driver to win 2 on this tour. And Jesse will catch up with him in Victory Lane.
Here, ladies and gentlemen, coming off the body. This car earned its victory. This driver earned this victory here tonight. Former winner of the prestigious Pro Stock 250 on Speed Weekend. An absolute dogfight to win the ReCar 150 presented by Wonder Auto and Tire. Climbing out of the car, let's hear for Cory Hall. He'll get the helmet and the Hans device. Cory, I think this one's going to be talked about for a while.
Yeah. Up here, we're kind of a experimental setup, and for a second, I was thinking I switch back to works. Middle with it. At that now. Necessarily looking for. But yeah, it was pretty intense racing with Ashton. I don't know. He's pretty popular here, so I'm sure I'm the villain in this story. But anyways, good racing with him, and congrats to Ryan, him on second. Just really happy to get another win. It feels like we've been kind of on a slump or win, so it's good to get one. Unfortunate to have the damage. I don't like that, but anyways, thank you to King Competition, Plant Seafood, GS Race, Robbie's Towing, Livingston Steel, VTP Construction, Brembo. I'm sure there's a lot of people I forget every single time. Chris Fournier Remax, of course, and thanks to this series for putting this on. It's pretty awesome.
Well, I know you're going to be back here in a couple weeks for the 250. I know you're already thinking about it, but you two are going to find each other on track once more in a couple weeks.
And racer, so I'm sure we'll talk it out. I'm not upset by any means, but probably go back with what they had for a setup. Really proud of King Competition for putting these cars up at the front and having the speed that we do. So it's really cool.
Two-time winner this season with the Super Late Model Series, Cory Hall in Riverview Ford Victory Lane.